Amy Klobuchar.
Al Franken, everyone. What a great leader. Thank you so much, Al. You know, when Al got elected, I thought this is going to be kind of interesting, you know, being Al's senior senator, being responsible for everything he does, right? And everything was going fine, but then everyone said it's going to be a little hard having a celebrity as the other senator. Everything was fine until one day we got on an airplane going back to Minnesota, and we got on, and the flight attendant, it was all Minnesotans, but the flight attendants were from the South, and she gets on this microphone and she says, "Everyone, we have celebrities on the plane, Mr. and Mrs. Al Franken." Everyone's laughing, and Al says, ma'am, she is actually the other senator from Minnesota. And then the flight attendant says, "How cool is that? Husband and wife senators!" True story. But, you know, I've got used to it. It is wonderful to be here with Denise and our Minnesota teachers and all of our public employees with AFT. Happy 100th birthday to the AFT. We welcome all our friends from out of town. As I've said to my friends here from Minnesota, we welcome you because you have been now in a state where, in the words of our poet laureate Garrison Keillor, the women are strong, right? The men are good looking. And all the AFT members are above average. Way above average. I thank Randy for her leadership. And as my friend Mary Catherine noted, my mom taught school till she was 70 years old. She had 30 second graders in her class at age 70, and I can tell you one thing, she was an AFT member to the end, and how proud was she of that? She was so proud of her union membership. She moved here from Wisconsin, and okay, we love our friends in Wisconsin because in Minnesota we can see Wisconsin from our porch, but at the time that my mom moved here, she actually moved here with her teaching degree because Minnesota had a bit better wages and a bit stronger unions. Take that, Scott Walker. Okay, all right, he wasn't even alive back then, but I thought I'd point it out. So my mom was actually involved in one of the first teacher strikes here, and I actually have the clipping from the newspaper where she was marching for higher wages. And I would also hear from her many times about how she would go to halls like this, and she would stand in the back on the top of her chair so she could see Hubert Humphrey speak. And guess what? You in the back, we're going to be expecting you to do that very soon when up on the stage is our next president, Hillary Clinton. Now, for me, the AFT stands for this. It shouldn't matter where you live, what school you attend, or what circumstance you're born into. All children deserve the right to receive a high-quality public education that will open doors of opportunity. As Al pointed out so incredibly well, No Child Left Behind didn't quite work for us. As I like to call it, they left the money behind. That's why Al and I and Randy and so many in this room fought to change that, and we were so pleased when President Obama signed the Every Student Succeeds Act into law this December. Because we know that today's students aren't just competing against students in Miami or Mumbai, they are competing against students everywhere. Because if we want to be a country that makes stuff again, that invents things, that exports to the world, that education starts right in this room. Now, AFT members, you're here to do a lot of things with your convention. But the most important thing that you need to do is to make the case that our country's choice in November could not be more stark. It is a choice between electing a leader who is determined to make education affordable for all, or someone who has scammed students with his Trump University. That is a choice. It is a choice between electing a leader who will bring down the cost of prescription drugs and support our nurses, or someone who wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act that has expanded health care coverage to 11 million more Americans. It is a choice between electing someone who calls himself the king of debt and rooted for the housing crisis, or choosing someone who's going to move this economy forward to the people, for the people of America. That is a choice. The choice is clear, and it's up to all of you to make sure we elect a leader who stands with our children, with our families, and with our communities. I know you can do this because you did it before. In 1938, you took a stand for equality and moved your convention to an entirely different Cincinnati hotel when you discovered that the original hotel you booked made its black visitors use the freight elevators. You did that. This union did that. In the 1950s, you fought for academic freedom during the McCarthy era by defending teachers wrongly accused of anti-American views, and you filed an amicus brief in Brown v. Board of Education and forced out the locals that refused to desegregate. You did that. This union did that. And last year, in 2015, you were the first national union to endorse our next president, Hillary Clinton. You did that. You did that because you know that Hillary will listen to the voices of educators and nurses and students and patients when making policy decisions. You know that Hillary will bring us closer together, and you know that we are stronger together. And hey, let's thank Bernie Sanders and his supporters in this room for his incredible campaign and for his equally strong endorsement of Hillary Clinton last week. At a time when people have been nickeled and dimed and worn down by the gridlock every time they want to move ahead, as the wealthy get wealthier and the middle class shrinks, as the special interests run roughshod over our politics, it is time to elect leaders who are going to help hard-working Americans get ahead, and that leader is Hillary Clinton. The way I see it, we have to give the people of this country a shot. A few months back, I met a student named Chelsea from Southwest Minnesota State in Marshall. She was raised by a single mom. She's as smart as can be. She works 3 jobs. She wants to be a teacher, but she will graduate with over $40,000 in student loan debt. We need to put the dream of a quality, affordable college education back within reach, and that means passing Elizabeth Warren's bill to allow Americans to refinance their student loans, and President Obama's bill for free community college. Think of that suburban second-grade teacher, divorced, working until she's 70 to save enough for retirement, but still buying those school supplies out of her own pocket. That was my mom. And in her memory, and for all those teachers, we need to tell Donald Trump that his finger-pointing and blaming and hateful rhetoric is the opposite of what our teachers tell our kids every day in the classroom. The opposite. What do you tell your kids in the classroom? You tell them to treat the other children with respect and dignity, to put yourselves in their shoes. That's what you tell them to do every day. Those are the values of our democracy. What else do we need? We need labor strong, and we need to uphold the fundamental right to organize. Because of all of you, I stand before you. Because of your union, because of education. I stand before you as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner who worked 1,500 feet underground his entire life and saved money in a coffee can to send my dad to college. I stand before you as the daughter of a newspaper man and a member of the Writers Guild and a daughter of an AFT teacher. And I stand before you as the first woman elected to the United States Senate from the state of Minnesota. Why? Why? Because unions were allowed to organize, and because we believed in an America that Hillary Clinton believes in so dearly, that allows equal opportunity and equal education for all. And it starts right in this room. So I'm going to end with this. We live in an unpredictable world. We need to do everything we can to root out evil and to keep our nation safe. But we can't keep our nation safe with more division. We need a leader who will bring us together and not drive us apart. So you have a lot to do in the next few months. You have a lot to do to get Hillary elected and our Senate candidates and our House candidates. But I ask you to do one more thing. You are on the front lines. You see these kids. You see what's going on social media and the hatred and the political assault on immigrants and refugees and people of color. And there are, by the way, religious leaders and business leaders and even some Republicans who don't endorse these tactics and will stand with us. Find them. Not long ago, I was at a mosque in Minneapolis, and I heard a story about a Muslim family who had simply gone out to eat for dinner. A mom, a dad, and the two kids. And as they were just sitting there eating their dinner, a guy walks by. And he looks at him and he says, "You four go home. You go home to where you came from." And that little girl, like so many girls in your classroom, looks at her mom and says, "Mom, I don't want to go home. You said we could eat dinner out tonight. I don't want to eat dinner at home." You think of the innocent words of that child. She said that because she only knows one home, and that home is Minnesota, and that home is the United States of America. So what I am asking you to do today is to stand up for that girl, and to stand up for the kids that need you, and to stand up for Hillary Clinton and get her elected as the next president of the United States. Thank you, everyone.